Well, we got a lot to talk about, Chad.
We do.
We've got a lot.
How many hours and minutes was the deal?
I don't know the exact time, but I think it was a little over 2 hours.
I feel like I cheated on my homework assignment.
Yeah?
I found a 12-minute summary video.
That's the way you do it.
Because I couldn't get the time yesterday. And then I couldn't find it last night. It wasn't loaded yet.
Yeah, I was a little sad it wasn't like instantly on there because I missed part of it. But before we get to all this stuff.
Hold on.
Okay.
I just want to say, when you responded back, I don't think they've loaded this year's yet. And then I looked at my screenshot again, and it was like 2018. WWD. I was like, what an idiot.
Well, fair enough. I did the same thing.
Did you? Okay.
I was like, 2018. That's what year it is. No, it's not.
The year of our Lord, 2018, +1.
So since we've got a lot to talk about, let's do a very quick recap of our little weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you guys know, we went down to Arkansas and we ran the War Eagle 25K trail run.
Mm-hmm. In Hobbs State Park.
Yep.
Just outside of Rogers, Arkansas.
Which is super nice single track.
It was really nice single track.
The whole time I was on it, I was like, I wish I was on my mountain bike.
I thought the same
because
thing.
It looked...
It was flowy.
Very flowy.
Very flowy.
For a state park, you never see like that flowy.
No, but I did notice, so it was a multi-use trail.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there were hitching posts for horses everywhere.
Yep.
And I guess horses like flow too.
Horses love flow. They do. They like to get that flow on with the berms. Well, there were no berms, but...
But I also wonder if... the horses like help keep everything kind of packed in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the soil down there in that area is awesome because they've got all those pine trees.
Yeah.
So, like, this single track is like... It's not super hard soil, but it's not soft enough that you're gonna sink into it unless you get off the trail.
You get all that pine needle bedding, which was nice on my joints.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
I think the trail run went really well. I mean, it was a challenge.
Uh-huh.
But we both completed it, and I think we were both very happy with our time.
Yeah, I missed my goal time by 3 minutes, and I cramped and walked most of the last 4.5 miles. So I think I could have crushed my goal time.
Well, note on your goal time, you'd never seen the trail, and you guessed your goal. You guessed a time to get, and you missed it by 3 minutes.
Right.
I think you nailed it.
Crushed it.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all in all, it was an awesome race. If you're in this area and you like to trail run, I recommend it. It's always in the first or so of June.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the weekend after Memorial Day.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Probably.
Yeah.
Put on by Rush Running Company.
Yep.
And Friends of Hobbs.
Yeah, we don't know who those friends are.
We don't either, but
they like Hobbs.
They manicure and groom the trails, and it looks like they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, we had fun. We camped. I got hypothermia overnight on the 1st of June, which is not a thing that you would think would happen.
Nope.
But someone didn't pack enough clothes. It got very cold.
You didn't lose a leg.
I didn't lose a leg. My toes didn't turn black.
Right.
Like, it's fine.
You're good.
Yeah. So today we're going to end up talking about WWDC.
WWDC. It finally happened. It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
On Monday. Today is Tuesday.
Yeah.
When we're recording. We normally record on Fridays, but we wanted to save this for Dub and all the excitement that brings. So
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike.
And yeah, today we're talking about WWDC.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You had something you wanted to say?
Yeah. I won't deny it. Tech is super crazy. Watching WWDC. Got the teraflops confusing me. And the dark mode's coming, you'll see.
That is awesome. The teraflops.
Those aren't real. He just said a word.
Yep.
And
made it up.
Wanted to see if anyone would catch it.
And everybody in the audience was like, ooh,
teraflops.
I don't know what that is, but I'm going to act like I do.
It's when a pterodactyl loses a wing and falls out of the sky and smacks the ground. That's a teraflop.
That's a teraflop?
Yeah.
I like that. And there was like 120 teraflops.
Yeah, it was a lot of flopping pterodactyls.
That's a lot of pterodactyls that flopped on the ground. I don't know why you'd buy a computer to kill pterodactyls, but, whatever.
It's your prerogative.
Yeah, it's your life.
And
you just live it.
And that computer is cheaper than a similarly set up computer that you can buy on the market.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
You can.
Can I start us off?
Yeah, sure.
What jumps out to you on this page?
Well, the thing that is lined with lots of like what I call like sparklies, seems like almost.
Yeah.
Sign in with Apple.
When I saw that, I was like, I threw my hands in the air. I was working on making dinner. I'm in the kitchen. I've got my AirPods in. And I just went, yes!
Yes.
Threw my hands up. And Laura goes, what? And so I start, hey, you know how on apps and websites you can either sign in with Facebook or sign in with Google? And she goes, yeah. And I go, Apple's coming out with sign in with Apple. Okay.
She's like, what's the big deal? Why do I care?
Right. So they're going to super lock down like all of the identity stuff, because that's what Apple does. And the part that I started geeking out about is the app or the website can still request that information, like your email address or whatever. And you can either choose to give them your real email address, or you can hide it, and Apple will generate a totally random email address and send it to your Apple ID. And it'll keep a list of all of these randomly generated ones. Yeah. And anytime you want to cut ties with an app, you can just get rid of that made up email address.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean,
so cool.
Just another like thing that they're doing to secure your data.
Yeah. And
honestly, what I think is going to sell a lot of people on this isn't necessarily the security, because I think a lot of people are like, what's insecure about the other ways? Like, I don't think a lot of people understand that it's just, you're giving out stuff, they're using your data, the location services, all that stuff is being basically sent to Facebook and Google at the time that you use sign in with. That's not going to happen with the Apple, but the thing that I think is going to sell people, Face ID and Touch ID, you'll be able to sign in and do all that registration with that.
Yeah. And I think in terms of security, I don't think that people have fully crossed over into realizing, like, security doesn't just mean not giving out your bank information. Like, everything you get out builds this profile about you.
Right.
And the more people know, the more they can target market or whatever to you. And it's not necessarily even that you're less safe when we talk about security. It's just that too many people know too much about you.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to be marketed to because I want to use your app.
Right.
I just want to use your app and move on.
Right.
So I think the sign in with Apple, I'll be curious to see how quickly it gets implemented, how quickly we start seeing it with things. I'm excited about it. And I think I think Apple is setting industry standards with all of this stuff. And pretty soon that's going to be the norm. Like, you need to do this stuff. You need to keep people's security in mind.
I also think that they're setting the industry standard, but I don't think that any of these other companies have a desire or a need or would see enough positive benefit to follow suit. So like we talked before, Apple just has cash, right? So they don't need to be in the business of selling our data.
Right.
Like, they have the financial position to take this stand. There's a word I'm looking for that I can't think of, but they can take this principled stance and say, well, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect them.
Right. And I mean, Apple can make a ton of money, more money than they already do if they did go the Google or the Facebook route.
Absolutely.
And use your data because they have tons of it.
Mm-hmm.
But they've chose to make their money off of their products.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you pay a premium price,
Mm-hmm.
not just because of the quality. And they chose to make money off of services. So iCloud and all that stuff. If you want the extra space, you just have to pay for it.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely a cool one. So yeah, I've got a huge list here, and we'll kind of go through this pretty quick. Some of the things that I thought were pretty cool, I just made some quick notes about it. I wanted to start with the AirPods. Did you pick up on anything that they did about the AirPods?
I didn't even see AirPods in my video.
Okay, this is awesome.
Okay.
You're going to like this. I think you're going to like this. I'm going to love this. If you have AirPods and you have iOS 13 or you have watchOS 6, now Siri will automatically read the messages to you when they come in.
Sick.
So you're out running.
They do that on CarPlay.
Yeah, that's probably.
So the technology's there.
Yeah. So you're out running,
Uh-huh.
or you're biking,
Uh-huh.
or you're on a walk,
Uh-huh.
and you have your AirPods in, and you're listening to music, and you're going along, and then all of a sudden your wife texts you, and then Siri pops in and goes, "Hey, Laura texted you. She said dinner's going to be ready at 5, so you better make it."
Or else.
Or else. No, but and then you can auto reply. Like
Nice.
it asks you, do you want to respond?
Nice.
So that's going to be a super handy feature that you get the buzz on your wrist, or you see the message come up on your phone, and then you normally have to like click at it, or you have to ask Siri to read the message to you. With this, if it detects, hey, you've got your AirPods in, it's just going to read them to you.
Nice.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, because last night, for instance, like I had my hands covered in raw hamburger meat.
Yep.
I don't want to touch my phone.
Because you had to have dinner by 5.
Right. I don't want to touch my phone when that's going on.
Right.
You know?
If you have your AirPods
And I don't
in,
want to. I don't want to tap
you
my
don't want
AirPods
to tap them because
either.
then you get ground
Then you
beef in your ear.
Right.
That's just
Nobody wants
wrong.
ground beef in their ear.
No, it's just wrong.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. The next thing, this is really going to be a neat feature, audio sharing. So they didn't say exactly how this was going to work. They kind of showed it in a quick little video demo. But you have AirPods, I have AirPods. We both have iPhones. I'm sitting here listening to something, right? I'm jamming out to this song. I'm like, oh man, Chad, you got to hear this. You just got to hear the song. Okay, well, we get our phones close together and we audio share. And then you hear what I'm hearing.
Like in sync enough that we can bob our heads to the beat.
I'm assuming
Nice.
the latency will be very, very low.
Nice.
So that is some cool stuff. Yeah, that is some cool stuff with the AirPods. Like those are just little things that they kind of hinted at that I don't know that they'll get much traction until they actually happen. Like you actually use them and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really cool.
Huh.
I could see audio sharing being something that my kids use
Yeah.
with their friends.
Yeah.
Like, oh, check out this song.
Well, yeah,
And-
because the old standard has always been, I'll take out one of my AirPods
Mhm.
and or earbuds, whatever.
Yeah.
But there are some songs, not all songs do this, but some songs designate audio to left or right.
Yeah.
And I've always noticed it in a car or
Uh-huh.
whatever. You can hear it go from one side of the car to the other. But I really started noticing it when I started working in the corporate world, and I would listen to like Pandora through my computer with one headphone in
Mm-hmm.
to a song that I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where's the bass guitar?
Yeah.
Or
It's over there in your other ear.
right, the one that I'm not listening to.
Right.
Or something like that where
Yeah.
you get that
They're really doing the true stereo separation.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the old wired splitters worked, but you always lost volume
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so now
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah.
You just share it.
Sick.
That's pretty cool. I thought that was a really neat feature. Moving on to tvOS. I know that if you have an Apple TV, you'll know that you don't get user profiles, which is kind of frustrating if you have Apple TVs that your whole family shares.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to have user profiles. So your kids can have a profile, your wife can have a
Nice.
profile, I can have a profile, and then they can basically you can have whatever you watch. If you watch Game of Thrones and your kids watch HGTV, then you won't see their stuff show up under your profile, and you can easily switch back and forth. One of the cool things about Apple TV is they're going to allow third-party game controllers from PlayStation and Xbox to work on it. So that's the question that a lot of people had about Apple. Yeah, about Apple Arcade. You can use your PlayStation controller and your Xbox controller. Now there's specific ones. I think it's the PlayStation 4 and then whatever the new Xbox is. But you could go to Best Buy or wherever and you could just buy one if you don't have one. And then now you can play Apple Arcade stuff with a legit controller.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. WatchOS. I know we're moving along here, but we got a lot to talk about. WatchOS, my dreams are coming true. They're coming true, Chad. Finally, third-party audio streaming API. So that means that Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music can all write a WatchOS app and actually use the streaming service and stream audio just like Apple Music does and Apple Podcast does.
Nice.
So I won't have to have a phone with me.
So the cool thing that I saw about the watch, which I didn't know that this was the case. Like, I knew you were tethered to your phone for a lot of stuff. It's going to have its own app store now.
Yep.
From the watch screen.
Yep.
I didn't know it didn't.
No, it didn't. Because when developers make an app, they have to make an iOS app.
Gotcha.
Like, they're not like that. The Apple Watch app is completely dependent on having the iPhone there.
And so now people can just design
just a watch app. Yep.
So
independent watch apps, and
Nice.
you can download them directly from the App Store
in your watch.
in your watch. So basically what I think this is like leading to down the road is people who don't want to carry an iPhone with them and they don't want an Apple iPhone at all could buy a watch.
Can still have an Apple Watch.
You could buy an Apple Watch and it would work completely independently. Eventually. Not yet.
Right.
But I think that's where the direction we're going.
Right.
Also, they talked about long-term fitness data. Right now, you do have a lot of long-term stuff, but you don't have like the charts and stuff that show trends over long-term. And that's something that they're going to integrate with the watch.
So how long, like, you can go back a month right now or 6 months?
Well, generally you're only going to see like what's going on for that particular day on the watch.
Gotcha.
So you'll actually see longer trends. I don't know how long, but that's just something that they mentioned.
Nice.
The big one, iOS 13.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that,
Uh-huh.
I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
yesterday morning, I woke up to the news that I had 12.3 something on my, so that'll be the last, probably 12 whatever.
We'll probably have another one or two before they release iOS 13. Because the iOS 13 won't come out until September-ish.
Okay.
Late September, maybe early October. I can't remember when they release it exactly, but it's sometime in September whenever the new stuff gets released.
Okay.
So we'll probably have a few more updates in between now and then, but there were basically 65 plus enhancements to iOS 13. We're not going to go through all of them.
Oh, cool. So 64 of them?
Yeah. We'll go through a little less than that.
Okay.
But the big one, to hit on the big one, dark mode.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been waiting a long time for dark mode. It's finally going to be here. And it looks pretty good.
It does.
The screenshots I saw, it looks like they did a really good job of it.
I saw, so part of my synopsis was probably about 2 minutes of a guy going through dark mode on an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it looked nice.
I think it looks pretty good. I'm excited to try it out. Will I keep it on my phone? Probably for a while, but it'd be nice to be able to switch back and forth.
So this is so small, but one of the things that I am kind of excited for, because I wasn't in on the hype for dark mode. Like, okay, black backgrounds.
Yeah.
Which you did end up telling me that the dark is going to actually be off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
Battery savings. But within the messaging app, or just within the picture app, anytime I click on a picture, I always tap it until the background goes dark. And so within the like within the app, when you see a picture, like it'll already
It's already
have a
there.
black background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that looks so much better.
So much better.
It looked a lot better.
I like just seeing my picture with nothing behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to frame that thing. That's exactly why I've always liked the black color iPhones.
Uh-huh.
Because the white, to me, framed the screen.
Right.
And I never really liked the white framing the screen. I have a few friends that love the white framing the screen. And to me, it just always drove me crazy. But, to each their own.
I liked it until I didn't. I really liked it because it looked super clean,
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped liking it.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Done with it. So they've got a huge update to Maps. Basically, all kinds of features inside of it, but they went around and did all of that car driving stuff and satellite imagery, and now their maps are super detailed and you get street view.
Nice.
Which is going to be really, really cool whenever you're like, what is this place that I'm looking for? It says it's around here. What does it look like? Then you can just pull it up on your phone and see, oh, okay, that's what it looks like.
I have used Google Street View to pre-drive to a place before.
Yeah, I have too.
And just go, okay, so when I see that gas station, that's where I'm going to turn.
Yeah, or I could probably park in this area when I get there. Because this is a big city and I'm freaked out about driving in this town.
Right, yeah, so. I've totally done stuff like that where you just do the whole trip before. Not the whole trip, but
right. The important parts.
Yeah, major intersections. Okay, this looks like a cluster on this interstate. Which lane am I really going to want to be in, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
they're bringing all that to the phone, which is really cool.
It means I don't have to do it at home before I leave.
Exactly. Sick. New me emojis, which I'm stoked about. Memojis.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked about this. And why? Because I love Bitmojis.
Uh-huh.
And now you're going to have little stickers.
Yeah.
That
are me.
Well,
yeah.
You. And it looks like you get all kinds of crazy customization. I don't know if you watched the little video of the two people that were YouTube fashion people.
I didn't.
Doing the Memoji type stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
They were kind of joking around and about the eyebrow color and the different piercings that you could do and the hats and all that. It was actually a pretty good little preview.
Super customizable.
Yeah. So, and the stickers are going to be available to, I believe, anybody that can put iOS 13 on. You can customize it. It's not the same as if you have an iPhone 10 or greater, but you can still get the Memoji stickers.
I also saw that the Memojis are going to be right next to your regular emojis in the emoji keyboard.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to add on another thing to be able to use them.
Yeah, you can get access right to them.
Yeah.
And I can send them all the time.
Yeah. And so instead of clicking the smiley face that's just yellow and happy, I can click me.
Yeah.
Doing this.
Smile. Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's just fun stuff. The Photos app has tons of enhancements. I'm actually pretty excited about this because the way that they showed it looked really intuitive. You could go down to a yearly view where it broke down all of your pictures in a year view. And then if you had duplicates, it would get rid of the duplicates. It would hide them.
Oh, nice.
And it would only show the photos that are considered the best photos. And whenever you scroll through them, if you have live photos and videos and all this stuff, they're all different sizes, and they animate as you scroll through. So it's going to basically bring your photos to life instead of having this giant pile of me. I've got an amazing amount of photos, 55,000 photos at this point on my phone, which is insane.
So I think I told you this, but I did not bring over photos to this phone when I bought it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I already have 1,100.
Yeah, well, you got kids.
Well, that's true.
You got lots of pictures to take of kids.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's true.
So you'll probably have 10,000 by the end of the year. Yeah, I'm excited about the Photos app. I think you'll like it too because it'll let you sort through and see particular memories that you want, and then you can basically zoom in on that particular memory and it'll show you related photos around that memory.
Nice.
So pretty neat stuff with that. Bluetooth wireless splitter. So this is pretty neat. I'm not really sure how much I'll use this, but if you had multiple Bluetooth speakers, right now you cannot broadcast to multiple Bluetooth speakers. You can if they're AirPlay or AirPlay 2, but with this, you'll be able to basically send a Bluetooth signal to multiple Bluetooth devices.
So in theory, we could both have our AirPods in and listen to AirPods from one phone.
One phone, yeah.
Instead of doing the
audio share,
linking.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all courtesy of Bluetooth 5. So if your phone doesn't have Bluetooth 5 in it, then you're probably left out.
Do you know which phones do and don't?
I think none of them do.
Sweet.
I could be wrong, but I need to double check that. I
actually prefer that. Like, this is new. If you have a phone now, you don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, that way there's no, like, cutoff or
right.
whatever.
Right.
Like, it's just, if you want it, you get a new phone.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if that's really the case. I heard Bluetooth 5, but I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, the Photos app's pretty cool. The wireless Bluetooth splitting. Oh, we talked about the sign in with Apple at the beginning, because that is going to be fantastic.
So good.
And then they got the little swipey keyboard.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I wrote down. Swipe to type. Hello, 2010.
For sure. And that's why I think if you watch like how they introduced it, I think it's Craig Federici. I think that's the guy who introduced it. But he's got kind of a quirky personality, and he just kind of like was like, "Oh, and you can swipe on your keyboard to do words." And it's just like
super nonchalant.
Right. They know that they're kind of like, this is an old thing, and this has been around on Android phones for a long time, but it's something that we've never added, so here you go.
You can have it.
Yeah. So
Here.
I don't know about it. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like it.
Maybe.
I mean, if it's like you said, 2010. If it's been around forever on the Google phones, and then Apple's finally like, fine, we'll do it.
Give the kids what they want.
Turns out that that's the one thing that held back a lot of people
from crossing over.
Yeah.
Don't swipe to type.
I'm not doing it.
Apple.
Swipe type. Once I get swipe type, I'm totally in. And they're like, okay, we'll do it.
It is.
Fine. But yeah, iOS 13 is kind of crazy. That's everything that I kind of put together for iOS 13. Those were the big things that I think a lot of people are going to really like.
Yeah.
So on to the next thing. This is new. iPad OS. There has never been an iPad OS.
Yeah, because Mike, iPads are not Macs.
They aren't. And they are not iPhones either.
That's also true.
But they've always ran on iOS.
Yeah.
And now, finally, they're getting their own OS.
Isn't that crazy? So Watch got an OS before iPad.
Yep. Yeah, and I think...
And to an extent, I kind of get it, because you can use an iPad in a lot of the same ways that you can use your phone.
Yeah.
It's just a bigger screen.
Yep.
But for a lot of like the design stuff and graphic artistry and all that, I bet it's going to be nice to have your own.
I think it'll be really nice, because the iPad has come a long way since they came out with the iPad Pro.
Yeah.
The iPad Pro has definitely made the difference. And there's been a lot of Pro users that are like, we want to use this as a full-time device, but we don't have enough stuff to do this with. So, with that being said, the other thing that they've added is they've got the pencil. I called it a pen.
You did.
It's a pencil. But the
pen is royal blue.
So I don't even know, what is that from?
Liar with Jim Carrey.
Oh.
The pen that I hold in my hand is royal blue. And then they find him in the fetal position.
Yeah.
The pen is blue. It's blue.
That is such a good movie. I need to go back and watch it. That is so good. That scene whenever he's like in the courtroom. Isn't that the one that, yeah, and he can't lie about anything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good. So, but the pencil is, it was already an industry standard in like latency. So like when you draw on the screen,
Right.
like it looks like you're drawing at the same time, like 20 milliseconds. They got it down to 9 milliseconds.
Wow.
So the human eye basically is not going to be able to...
You can't perceive that difference.
So it's super accurate.
Yeah.
Which that's really, really neat. If you have a pencil, I think our coworker Terrence has one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I just know, like, and this is stupid, when you go to sign your name on a credit card reader,
Yeah.
if it's delayed, like, I can't sign my name.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa, what am I doing? Okay.
Right?
X's, 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 X's.
Right. I'll remember that was me.
No one's going to ever look at this receipt ever again because
No.
those tiny things are pointless.
The only thing that they are supposed to be for at this point is if you dispute a charge,
Right.
then you can say, that's not me.
That's not me. I didn't draw a smiley face.
Yeah. There was actually an NBA player who said in an interview, yeah, I'll go and get 20 grand out of an ATM, go to a strip club, and throw half of it down, and then keep the other half, and I'll have signed a different name on the receipt or have a teammate sign it or something, and then call the credit card company the next day and get the full 20 back. Meanwhile, I've still got 10 in my pocket. Said that in an interview.
Yeah, not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool, bro.
So, anyway,
That's so wrong.
there's that.
Jeez. Massive multitasking ability now. You can do all kinds of things with multitasking. Like, for instance, you could have composing an email up, and then you can have the email app running another side of it, running on the other side of the screen, and you can copy links from one email to the other.
Nice.
You can have like 2 versions of Microsoft Word open, where before it was always one app. Well, it wasn't one app open. It was one of those apps open. You couldn't have 2 of the exact same app open.
So when we were talking about the Samsung Galaxy folding phone, and you told me about multiple apps running at once, I was like, yeah, the iPhone does that. But, like, you can only have one and you face it at a time. I didn't realize that you meant, like, side by side, like you would do on a desktop until I saw the video, and I was like, oh, that's really awesome. So now the iPad's going to have this too.
Yeah, well, iPad's been able to do multitasking for quite a while as far as having two programs open up at the same time, but now you can have 2 of the same program.
Programmed twice.
So you know how handy it is, like if you're on Microsoft Word, 2 Excels, you might want numbers from one.
Yep.
Yeah, and so
that's cool.
That is really cool. I think that'll just add to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Huge file system improvements, so you can do all kinds of things with files that you couldn't do before. iOS has been kind of like hamstrung with you can't move files around like you can on a desktop computer. And now the file system is just being improved, so you can do more of the file management, move things around, organize your stuff a little bit easier. And USB drives and direct camera imports to particular apps. So before you couldn't plug in a USB drive or plug in a camera to go directly to like a specific app. You had to send them to your photos.
Right.
Now they can just go directly to an app.
That's cool.
Yeah. So they got a lot of
applauses.
Yeah, a lot of applauses. A lot of clappities.
Yeah. But we were talking about email, and it made me remember one of the things that they had said in the short video I watched was that you're going to be able to do all of the text features that you would expect to see in an email program. So like underlining and bolding and all of that stuff, like there's a lot of that you can't do on the phone. And maybe that was specifically phone updates. I don't know if it was iOS 13 or something else. But anyway, I thought that was cool because there's been times when I wanted to bold or underline. Like you can do it in notes, but you can't do it in texts, and you can do it...
So you can do it in more applications?
I think so.
Oh, that'll be nice.
And they were also going to have like richer text features, which I don't really know what that means.
I'll take it.
But yeah.
Yeah, anything that you can do to make it seamless across the entire operating system, work the same way and everything, is a better thing.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so that was iPad OS. Now Mac OS. The new version of Mac OS is going to be called Catalina.
I saw that.
Which I like that because that's a street I almost basically grew up on. Well,
Really?
almost all my elementary through high school, I grew up on Catalina Street.
On Catalina Street.
Yes. So,
I saw, because he was like, we're leaving the desert and we're going to island and something about sailing. Catalina.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm sold.
Yeah. So there's a lot of features in this. They basically have they're releasing the ability to, for developers to be able to create iOS apps that work on Mac OS. I can't remember. Everybody was calling it Marzipan for the longest time. I can't remember what their actual official name is. It's slipping my mind. Here in a few weeks, I will actually remember it. But that's actually coming out. Big announcement. No more iTunes. iTunes is going to be gone. It's going to be split up into 3 apps: music, podcasts, and TV.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been waiting for this to happen. Hopefully they won't lose some of the enhanced features that iTunes gave us, but it was just time. It's been a long time since iTunes has been out, and it's kind of cumbersome. So that's kind of good to see. The other big thing is something called Sidecar, which this is pretty neat. So,
That's a shot that you put on the side of a mixed drink.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anytime you see, like, if you've got a cocktail and you see that little shot glass on the side, that's a sidecar.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they're going to serve some drinks. But Sidecar allows your iPad to basically act as another screen, wirelessly or wired. So you can use your pencil and you can draw on a screen. So if you have an application that you have on your Mac and you want to be able to actually use it as a drawing pad, you can turn on Sidecar and then the screen will appear on your iPad and you can start drawing or annotating. And then you can go over to your keyboard on your Mac and type. So you can basically have dual screens if you want.
Awesome.
It's pretty neat. The fact that it's going to be wireless too is really cool. Because I thought that when I heard about this a while back, that this was all going to be wired. And I'm like, the tethering thing might not be that cool. But if it's wireless and it actually works well, very, very cool. The next thing is HomePod. They did something really cool. Multi-user based off of voice. So if you have a HomePod sitting in your house, if you don't know what a HomePod is, it's basically an Alexa-style speaker, but by Apple.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's got really good sound. I've never heard one, but it's supposed to have really good sound and it uses Siri. But the problem with it is that you can have multiple people have multiple phones in your house using different iCloud accounts, and they might say, hey, blah, 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 add chocolate to the grocery list. And then it adds chocolate to the grocery list, but it adds it to the primary user's phone. And then they go to the store and they're like, I thought I added something to this list, but I guess I didn't. So I'll just go home. And then they get home and they're sad because they don't have the chocolate. But now with multiple users, it will recognize your voice. So if you came home and you said, hey, Dingus, add chocolate to the grocery list, it would add it to your phone. And then your wife comes in and says, hey, Dingus, remind me that I want to go walk the dog later.
It adds it
to her reminders.
Nice.
So it's all voice done. You don't have to sign in as far as like every time you want to use it. You could say something to tell your phone to remember something, and your wife could say something to remember something, and your kids could tell it to do something, and it would. Same with music. If you ask it to play something, it's going to play from your style of music.
Nice.
And it's not going to, like, if your kids eventually go, hey, I want to play Ring Around the Rosie or whatever the song is they want to play, it's not going to put that on your playlist.
Sure. It'll
put it on their playlist.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. And then they've got something called, they're integrating handoff with the iPod, or not the iPod, the HomePod. So if you're listening to music or a podcast on your phone and you walk in, you can just basically go it'll hand off to the HomePod and it'll start playing through there.
So that's like when you put your AirPods in your ear and it goes from speaker on your phone to in your ear.
Exactly.
Nice.
So that'll be handy for people who have HomePods.
Handy. Handoff.
I meant to do that.
I know you did.
Totally.
Totes.
Totes. All right, so the last thing I have, and this is something that is completely out of our wheelhouse, and anything that I will ever purchase that I know of
Teraflops.
is the thing that he's referring to is the Mac Pro. That slipped my mind last week. I could not remember what it was, but Mac Pro.
No, the Mac Pro wasn't the part that you couldn't remember. It was Mac Display. You couldn't remember what the screen was.
No, it was Mac
called.
Pro.
We said Mac Pro.
I know, eventually.
Oh. You didn't make a big deal about it, so I didn't realize that we were talking about
the
same things.
I couldn't remember Mac Pro because they haven't had Mac Display.
Gotcha.
Until now. But they've got this computer that came out. Basically a whole bunch of really high-end like developers and video editors and all these things have been asking Apple to make a really high-end modular device for really intense development and video editing and audio editing. And a lot of times, a lot of these people will buy high-end computers and they'll string them together because they need the processing power.
Gotcha.
Apple basically created a computer so powerful that you do not need multiple computers to run insane things.
Nice.
So it's super customizable.
Uh-huh.
And you can put a lot of teraflops in it,
Uh-huh.
which has to do with graphics cards.
Yes.
You can essentially put 4 extremely high-end graphics cards in this thing, a insane amount of RAM, a huge CPU.
Was that the 1.5 terabytes, the RAM?
I think so.
That's
And
insane.
I found out that the power supply is right at the limit of what is legally allowed to be owned by a consumer for continuous running.
300 watts.
No, 1.4 kilowatts.
Where did I see
300
that's
watts
300
is
watts?
the processor.
Oh my God.
Yes. So 1.4 kilowatts. Supposedly 1.5 kilowatts is the biggest power supply a consumer can own that has continuous run. So like your toaster and stuff doesn't qualify for that. So,
Okay, sure.
But because it's not going to be continually running.
Right. So you can just plug in 1.5 kilowatts, 1.4 kilowatts to the power grid and just let it run. That's fine.
Yeah, I guess so. So that's super crazy. But some of the demos they did were just like mind blowing. I have a 2012.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going back. So when you think about like, light bulbs, 100 watt used to be the standard, and it still is in terms of like the brightness that you perceive.
Mm-hmm.
But 100 watts is now 13 watts.
Right.
But when we talk about 100 watts, we're talking about 14 of those running continuously at the same time.
Right.
To get the same as this.
Yeah.
So power. It's putting out power.
Yeah.
Pulling power.
Yeah, it's
that's awesome.
It's crazy.
It's
I mean,
powerful.
it'll be able to do just insane things. I will never be in the market for this as far as I know, but I'm really excited to see that this is on the market because there's a whole industry out there that is in the market for it and they've been wanting it. Like the movie industry. Think about it. They spend how many hundreds of millions of dollars to produce animated movies?
Right.
So a $10,000, $20,000 plus computer is nothing to them.
Starting at $59.99.
Right. Which was a really weird way for him to say that. Because when he said that, I was like, sweet, so I can get one for $60. It's like he didn't want to say $5,999 or $6,000.
Why? I know I've talked about it, but why remove the dollar? Why not just...
Yeah.
We're talking about elite level products. Why can't they just be $6,000?
Yeah, that is true.
Whatever.
I think it's the whole mind thing, and it doesn't make sense when you're at that level.
No. Especially when you're saying, because I think it was like 84 something that he was comparing us, like right now you can go out and build your own similar processing power and all of that kind of computer.
Mm-hmm.
and it was like $8,400.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
And ours is only $59.99.
Or $84.99.
Yeah.
$84.99.
Right.
The way it's, I don't know. They removed the dollar and then they stopped saying the thousands.
Right.
So, come on.
You can only say 1,000 if it's 3 zeros. Anything else, it's $59.94.
$59.94. Sweet. So, yeah, this thing is, it's so insane what it could actually do. And I just thought about, like, what my 2012 MacBook Pro, like, just opening, like, Chrome, I get the little spinny beach ball. Or Safari, it's a spinny beach ball. The calculator takes a little bit of processing time.
Yeah.
This one, like, did, like, I think, like, 6 or 7 orchestras or something, like, in a sound editing program, and then they edited 3 8K uncut raw videos on the fly.
Yeah.
And it still had room for processing power.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the one that they're probably using on their computer.
Not $6,000.
Nope.
Well, I mean, it is. But it's 6,000 plus.
How much do you think that computer is? I bet you it was a completely fully spec'd out 100% because they want this thing to run like a beast.
Right.
How much? We have no idea. Let's just frame this. We don't know what the prices are on a fully spec'd out version, but what do you think it's the fully spec'd out version of just the tower, not the monitor and everything?
The tower looked really good.
It looked pretty cool.
I really liked the way it looked.
They kept a cheese grater look to it.
Okay, yeah, I see that. But given that it starts at 6 and I have zero concept of what it costs to build a computer, I'm just going to say between 15 and 20 grand for the tower. And given that these are supposed to be used by
pros.
What is the Disney company that
Pixar.
Yeah, Pixar.
Yeah, like those type of companies.
Or Pixar and DreamWorks and those types of companies, and they're going to buy 17 or 20 of them.
Yeah.
15 to 20 grand. That feels right.
I'm going to guess, and we'll just have to see whenever this comes out. I'm going to guess that one was closer to $30,000. $25,000 to $30,000.
Wow. What did I see? Because I don't remember if it was on the display or if it was still on the tower. But they compared, could be $64,000, but instead it's
the reference monitor by Sony.
Okay.
So is that what you're talking about? The thing that they had up on the screen?
All I saw on my video was the 64,000 fade away, and then them start talking about theirs.
Yeah, I believe that was the reference series monitor that you can buy. Like whenever you go into like a movie editing studio, they have these monitors that are super, super high end that basically they can see HDR video at the highest resolution, blah, 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 blah,
right.
blah.
Okay, I didn't mean to take us into the display.
No, but I'm ready to go there.
Okay.
So I don't have much to say about this display.
Okay.
Other than, yes, spec-wise, it's very, very impressive.
6K. Full 6K.
Full 6K.
1,000,000 to 1 contrast ratio.
It sounds silly. Why are we even listing it anymore?
Because I'm 1 in a million.
A bajillion to 1 billion to 2. It's like, at this point, like, just say, make it a word. Like, super duper contrast ratio. I mean, so it's just, the specs were insane. And this is just like something that really hasn't ever been in the consumer market.
Right.
Which is just, it's weird to see because, okay, let's just put it out there. This monitor was $4,000. Or is $5,000. $5,000, sorry. $49.99. Without the etched version.
Okay, so yeah, they said Nano something or other was $59.99.
Yeah, so you can get the screen basically with a matte etching on it so it doesn't reflect light.
Okay.
It's $1,000 more.
Right.
Here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Here's the thing that made everybody go, like, what what just happened? And then Apple moved on super fast. It doesn't come with a stand. The stand is $1,000 more. And if you want a Visa mount, so you can mount it on like a stand that you purchase separately, or if you have one of those little arms, it's $200. But when you buy a $5,000 to $6,000 monitor, you get no stand.
So you know how we all have TVs that can be hung on the wall or hung on a TV stand that has mounts or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, they still come with a shitty-ass little stand,
Not this.
Surely it comes with something, or it's at least flat on the bottom so you can set it on a table.
Maybe it's got little feet. Look, little rubber feet that you sit it in.
How hilarious would it be? Okay, picture this.
Uh-huh.
You walk into like a freelancer's. You've got a freelancer best friend, right?
Yeah.
And he does some of this high-end
His name's
work.
Jimbo. Yeah.
Jimbo has need for a $59.99 tower and a $59.99 no glare screen.
Right.
So he's got this $12,000 computer because he's a freelancer. And
$12,000 computer.
Yep, that's what I said.
Okay.
He's got a $12,000
base
computer.
model.
Base model, $12,000. And he's got the screen like sitting on a milk crate.
Just propped up.
Propped up,
kind of half hanging there.
Can't you picture it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a podcast I was listening to, and I recommend if you are interested in this computer, listening to the ATP podcast. More than likely, if you are interested in this computer, you already listened to the ATP podcast, which is also known as the Accidental Tech Podcast. Those guys are like really detailed about this stuff. And one of them joked around about, what do you do? Just get like a small child to hold the monitor for you? And it's like, okay, now it makes it sound even more ridiculous.
Right.
Like, you got $12,000 worth of computer and it doesn't come with even a cheap stand.
I bet it's got feet or something.
It's got to. Can you imagine if they ship it with nothing?
No.
Like, what would...
I can't.
I can't even imagine like the pictures that will come out like on Twitter and stuff. Like,
right.
Bought my new Apple monitor and it's just like leaned badly up against a wall, laying flat on the table. Maybe it'll come with like some weird like little mount that doesn't adjust. Maybe the $1,000 one is an adjustable one.
Maybe.
Who knows? But yeah,
because surely what I'm looking at right there doesn't cost $1,000.
No, it does. Yeah, because the back of it has like all these, like, has like an adjuster on it and stuff, which still doesn't justify being $1,000.
It's just a metal L.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I think everybody in that room was just as baffled as you. Like, what? Like, the guy on the ATP podcast goes, I didn't hear that it cost $1,000. All I heard was the Visa mount, but I thought they were talking about the actual mount cost $200. And then he goes, later then I found out that everybody was saying, no, the real mount, desktop mount, cost $1,000. He's like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, I thought $200 was insane.
Right.
So, but anyways, that is that. You've got a very pricey computer that is coming your way, but dude, all of these, there was so much stuff. We didn't even, like those screens that they had up that had all those words on it of like features that were coming to each like different OS. They only talked about probably 5 or 6 of them. And there were probably 20 to 40 different words on those screens of new features that are coming to iOS 13 and watchOS 6 and tvOS and macOS and iPadOS. So I think this fall, we're all going to get some pretty cool new things on our devices.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Now, this happens to me every year, Chad.
Tell me what happens, buddy.
Every year, I watch WWDC,
that Worldwide Dog Conference.
Yep. And I'm like, oh, look at all these features. Look at all of them. There's so many features. And then it comes out and I'm like, I don't remember what features they added. It's like my mind just like goes into like lock mode. Like, what did they do? So.
Well, hey, guess what?
What?
This time, when it comes out, you can just go back and listen to episode 15 of
15.
the Lunchtime Tech Talk.
Yes.
And you'll be like, oh yeah, they added this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Anything else with Dongle Conference?
Nope, we hit my high points.
Hit your high points?
As not ever having been a developer.
Yeah.
This conference, not necessarily for me.
Yeah,
But I heard some stuff that I was like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think the keynote is the public thing because they don't go over a lot of development stuff with it. They hit some things that we didn't even mention on our podcast, but a lot of the stuff is just like, this stuff is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, guys, make apps that use this stuff and make these customers happy.
Right.
So yeah, you got to sing your song.
I got to sing my
which
song.
I loved the song.
I know you
It
did.
was super good.
And of course, you know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip Crazy Tech.
Yep.
Because this one has gone long because of the Dongle Conference.
Yep. No dad jokes today.
No dad joke. Well, you did have a dad joke at the beginning.
Did I?
Yeah, you had one, but we didn't officially call it the dad joke.
What did I say?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen to it. but I laughed.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, oh, hey, he did have a dad joke, but he didn't even mean to.
It's because I'm a dad.
Yeah, dad.
Yeah.
So I think that'll do it for us. What do you think? Should you tell them where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us on... Well, I mean, they can find us on iTunes for a little bit longer. But before long, just Apple Podcasts.
Just Apple Podcasts.
Because they're breaking that apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube, and you can go to the website and browse show notes and read our bios and all that kind of stuff.
See our pictures.
See our pictures. We are not handsome, but
speak for yourself, sir.
But we have wives, and they love us. Suckers. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and you can see pictures from our trip to Arkansas this last weekend at Lunchtime Tech Talk. You can find us on Twitter at LunchTimeTechT1. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MSUMac. That's MSUMACC. Mike, where you at?
You can find me on Twitter at run_bike_Mike, and you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at runbikemike. Don't forget, please go out and rate this podcast on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever we want to call it nowadays.
Or on whatever app you listen to it.
Yeah, just give us a rating. It definitely will help us. And don't forget, we do have a Patreon page. So
do with that what you will.
Do with that whatever, people.
Yeah. And if you do get out to YouTube, give it a thumbs up and a comment.
All right. We'll see you later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.